Hi, welcome to the fifth episode of the Prussian Crisp series, and my name is Sten Martin. In this series, we try to do clothes as easy as possible in a low-tech way. And why do we do that? Well, I think it's important to have some alternatives to all the clothes that you buy in the shop, and I think it's important that you have a possibility to make something with your hands, to be creative, and yeah, that's why we do this. And in the first episode, we did the front part of a lady's basic pattern, and in the second, we did the back, and in the third, we made the basic body, and in the fourth, we made the two-piece notched collar up here. So as you can see from the last episode, I just repinned it up here, or not repinned it, but I turned the allowance inwards so it looks a little bit more nice up here. And as you can see, the collar sits tight to the neck, which I think is important, and I got a nice notch in here too. Some people doesn't like that it rounds this way up here, the label. I think that's quite nice, but a lot of people want it to turn this way to get it more prominent, but that wouldn't be any difficulties to change because you just remove the pins and then you just turn out the fabric out here. So that this you can do whatever you want there. So today we're gonna do the sleeve to the jacket to finish it off, and some will probably tell you that you can go and buy a pattern for the sleeve and start there, but I of course like to do it ever so basic from the start. So I start with a basic square of fabric, and when you do it like this, you probably have to do it a couple of times. You drape it up and then you draw the lines, reshape it, and make another one and try it out to get the perfect fit. But now I just show you the basics, and I try to do it as quickly as I can. But as you know before, sometimes it's a little bit difficult. So let's see how it goes. But the measurement on this fabric, it's about 66 centimeters times 38. But the important, and that is in inches, it's 27 times 15 about. But the important thing is that the fabric is long enough for a sleeve. So if you put it up here, all the way up to the shoulder, it's supposed to be long enough for you to turn it up at the hem. And the width, of course, should be wide enough for your arm to fit in it. And I usually test it on myself, and if I have enough fabric to wrap it around my arm with clothes underneath, it probably would be okay. But be sure it's not too tight, because it's a little bit irritating if you put a lot of work in it. What's also important with the width is that it's wide enough for the arm side up here. You have a width up here, and the sleeve is supposed to be wide enough to turn around the arm, or wrap around the arm. So it must be the width of the arm side plus some extra. So always check this. Check your arm and check your arm side. And then I usually do this on the table, but now I'm trying to do it up here. It's a little bit difficult, but we see how it goes. So I just start with placing it up here. And then I just connect the two sides. I fold this ever so lightly here, and I fold the other side in like this, and I make it a little bit wider up here and a little bit more narrow down here, and then I just pin it up here together. And be sure just to pin it, of course, in the two top fabrics. Otherwise you couldn't put your arm into it. And be sure that you keep it straight up here so it doesn't twist. And you probably would have to put 2 pins in here just to stabilize it a little bit. Probably easier on the table, but we do it anyway. So you have it up here. Just have to pin this again. Like that. And then you have your start shape. And how low should this be? Well, you have a measurement here with the armscye, or the armhole as some people call it. And if you measure this here, mine is about 15 centimeters, then it should be more up here. So if I put it up here, I have 15 centimeters, then I probably would add in 4 centimeters, something like that, because you want some extra material in the top and in the bottom. So you have a mark down here. And then you would like to start to cut out some material. And then you just cut a round shape up. And be sure not to cut too far out, because then you will miss the fabric when you drape the sleeve. Just supposed to be like a skiing slope or something like that. So you take it up here, hope you can see it, and then you just cut a round shape up, a little bit like when we did the neck. And you do the same thing on the other side. Like that. And then you have the start of the roundness of the armhole, like you have it down here. Of course you don't have the exact shape, but you do that over here then. But you have to have something to start out with. And then you want to shape the sleeve. You want to make an elbow shape in it. And then you have to be certain that you take the right side, because you usually drape half of a jacket. So you don't want to make it to the other side, because then you have to redo it, and it's irritating. So you make sure you have the right side. And then you start with measuring, or with your eyes, take an eye measurement, that you have half here, and then you take about, you have this length, and then you take about half up, then you go a little bit higher up, and there will your elbow probably be. And then you remove some fabric here, about 1 centimeter times 2, and pin. And then you can see you start having the shape of the elbow out here. And if this also lays flat up here, you can see you have a nice shape out here. Of course, this will always be a little bit pointy, but you can remove some extra width afterwards. The important thing is that you have the shape here, and it goes in down here. I usually want to make some more pins on this side to make it shaped. On the other side, we want it to move that way out. And this, of course, when we sew it, we stretch it, but it's hard to stretch cotton, as this is. So what we do is we make a cut on the other side. So in the same level, you just cut all the way out to your crease. And then you can first shape the top part. You would like it to go a little bit inwards here. So we just shape it like that and pin it in place. And then we can remove this out here. Just turn that way in so you can see it better. And then we just open it here, and then you get the other side of the sleeve. So over here at the elbow, we remove some, and over here on the other side, we open up, and then we get a nice shape. As you probably can see now, it's a little bit wide over the elbow. Make sure it's not too tight if you don't have a stretchy fabric, but I would like it to go a little bit more inwards. So I just take my pins out, I keep the top one, like that, and I just push it inwards so it gets tighter. And this, of course, you have to reshape along the way if you try the sleeve on. And down here, I can just remove some fabric here so you see it better. And I just put it out like that. And if you feel that it stops you, you just cut a little bit further out. And then you shape it ever so nicely down here to the width you would like it to be. And you just pin it up. All the way up, and be sure not to twist the sleeve. So I continue up. Some more pins. And the last one. Up here. And if I remove the sleeve, you can always check if you have a nice shape out here. Just remove some extra fabric. So it looks a little bit neater. So you can see here it's wider up here, and then it's tapered down to the end. And you want it to twist a little bit in the front, because when you look on your arm, it twists forward too. And you can see that my arm goes a little bit in the front, so you would like the sleeve to do that too. So here you have the basic shape of the sleeve, and as when we're at it, we can just draw in the seams where we would like to place the seams, and we don't want to have them in the crease, we want to have them a little bit further in. So I just draw it up here, and I draw it up there too. Something like that. So now we would like it to fit the sleeve over here. And then we turn it sideways, and you place it in the shape you would like it to have. If you would like it to be a little bit forward or backwards, I would like a little bit forward, and then you just press in here, and then you remove the fabric on the top, and then you can see we have the inner fabric here. If you don't feel that it fits, now you can see it's a little bit, I missed some fabric here, and I have a little extra here. You can just shift the sleeve a little bit, so you can push it over here to get the fit you want it to be. And then I just put a pin down here, and I start pinning just an extra on each side. And before pinning any more, I just check my sleeve if it have the shape I would like it to have. If it tips too much in front, then you just repin it and slide it backwards. If it tips too much to the back, of course you do it differently. So don't put too many pins in to start with. So what you do is that you check where you would like it to be. You press ever so slightly down here, remove the fabric, and then you put the first pins in and check that it looks something like that. It looks perfect, of course. So when you check that, you pin up about halfway up, and then you can just adjust the fabric. If you have, of course, you just cut in the start, you just cut a bit randomly. So here you can just check your shape and put some extra in or remove some fabric if you would like that. So I continue up about halfway, and then I start on the top instead. And now it's important that we had enough when we cut in the start, because you would have like to have enough fabric to turn in at the top. And you would like to decide too if you want it to be a little bit further in the back or more in the front. It's all about placing this top point up here. And you probably wouldn't like too much fabric in the front, and you would like a little bit more in the back so you can move. And then you place here, you remove the fabric, and then you have to make a decision which style you would like to have on the jacket. If you remove more fabric, it tilts out and you get more movement in the sleeve. And if you remove if you remove the fabric on the top, it tilts out and get more movement. And if you put in more fabric, you see if I roll it out, it goes down ever so nicely, but you get less movement because you can't really brace your arm. It will be very tight down here. So decide what you would like it to be, how much action your customer is supposed to do or you're supposed to be able to do, and then you just turn it down in the top and make sure that you have a little bit extra fabric in the back and not so much in the front. I would like my sleeve to be a little bit out, of course, like that. And then you pin it to your seam line up here, and you pin it all the way out in the crease. Of course, we have got too much fabric up here because we just cut it up like a ski slope. So you remove some fabric in the corners up here. Like that. And then you work your way down and up, from below and up. And the same in the back, from below and up. Why we do that? We do that because we want a lot of ease on the top to get a nice shape. If you don't have enough ease here, it's going to be very flat. If you get more ease, you get a really nice round shape. That's of course very important if you have a narrow shoulder. If you have a wide shoulder, not so important. So you start down here and you turn away fabric, and you probably would like to do this a couple of times. Don't put too many pins to start with. You put a pin down there and then you continue half the way up and put a pin up here, something like that, and then you go to the back and then you do the same. You start down here, start below, and you work your way up. And here it's important that you have a lot of fabric, that's my opinion anyway, because you always would have the ability for the customer to use all this width over here. And then you continue up like that. And usually you always feel that you have too much fabric in the top, but you probably have a nice wool you make it in, so you can probably shape it in there anyway. But if you have too much, you can just remove a little bit extra up here. And then you just fit it and pin it and work your way up. And then you adjust it in the front, repin it, and fit it and work your way through the sleeve. You probably don't want to do this in a hurry. It's too difficult. So it looks something like that. When you pin it here, it always gets a little bit flat, but of course when you sew it from the inside, it gets rounder. If you think you have too much fabric here, you can always take some away in the seam you have down here. I have my seam, I put it in here. So I can remove a little bit fabric down here. You often want to do that in the front. And then it will fit a little bit more nicely over here. Like that. And you, of course, you have to continue it downwards to get a nice shape here. And you can use your pin just to pluck the fabric out to get a nice shape. And of course when you sew it, you have some extra padding in it so it gets rounder. In the back, if you feel that it's a little bit too little fabric, too much fabric, you can, or too little or too much, you can do the same with the seam. You can cut down in the seam and put some extra in, or you can remove a little bit up here. But I think it looks okay. I just adjust it a little bit up here. Like that. And you want it to be a bit wide up here, and you want it to be tapered. This is a bit difficult to see. Tapered so it gets more narrow down here. And then you turn it up at the bottom. And you would like it to be a little bit longer in the back and a little bit shorter in the front to get a straight angle down here. And if you feel that it's a little bit too wide, you can always remove a little bit in the back. Don't do it in the front. And when you remove some width in the back, you can at the same time probably remove a little bit of the elbow too, to get a really nice round shape up here. And then you mark it with your pen, and you just mark both sides. you mark your sleeve and you mark your armhole if you have adjusted your armhole. And you would like to have a fitting mark halfway up. You would like to have a fitting mark on the top of your shoulder. And of course, after you marked the front, you would like to have a fitting mark in the front too. And after it's completed, you put a fitting mark under the sleeve too. And then you can remove it. And then, of course, you mark down here. Then you can move it, and then you have the shape of the basic jacket sleeve. So that was all for me today. Tomorrow or next time I will try to make the same process on a men's stand. So thank you for watching. Bye.